Hello, everyone. It is hard to believe that it's been over 3 months since we last gathered together for worship in the church building. And yet, here we are in the latter part of June now. And for the last few weeks, we've been planning all the details of what does it look like for us to regather for worship as a church. I realize that within our state, within our community, within the church, that there are wide perspectives of what's going on and how safe we are or not safe we are. And one of the challenges that we have in church leadership is opening up the Bible and saying, what wisdom can we pull from the pages of Scripture? And the Bible says that we are to submit to the governing authorities over us, regardless of how clear or unclear their messaging is at any given time. We also know that we have a joyful, privileged responsibility to care for one another also. And so God has spoken in His Word, and I want to highlight along the way some of the challenges that we have faced during this time. There's been a perception that churches have been closed and now they're planning on reopening. But the reality is that we've been open all along. The last few months have been among the most challenging over the last 20 years of ministry that I have experienced for various reasons that none of us have been trained for or have walked through before. And so I am thankful for the grace and mercy and unity that you have expressed towards me personally and to us as a church. And as we regather, I just want you to know we're planning just a few weeks out at a time. And so what I'm about to share is only for June 21st and June 28th. And then we will reevaluate from there what is going on within our county and what's going on within the church. So we're grateful for St. Thomas and their congregation's willingness to continue to host us over these years and the open doors we have to come back into the church. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to plan on having two physical gatherings for worship, one at 4 o'clock and one at 5:30. And many things about these gatherings will be identical with a few variations, and I'll explain them in a moment. Additionally, we will offer an online service through Facebook Live that will be the 5:30 service. And so when the 5:30 service is happening physically, there will be a Facebook Live feed that will be streaming in. And so if you are not comfortable coming out to worship yet, don't feel any guilt, don't feel any shame. We miss you. We hope you miss us. But when you're ready, we will welcome you back as you come in. But that's the plan for right now. For those of you that aren't on Facebook and aren't ready to come back to worship, we will have the service uploaded for you within 24 hours. And so you can plan on seeing that too. Now, here's the difference. As we come together, the difference of where we are is that the state has moved into green, as you know. What does that mean? It's confusing, but we do know that we have the freedom to meet together in person, and we do know that our state government has been very open-handed when it comes to churches. And so we have something to celebrate there and to be grateful for. But we also want to really embrace the responsibility that we have to loving one another. Peter says in 1 Peter 3:8, he says, finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and a humble mind. He calls us to unity. He calls us to love. He calls us to humility. So I realize that as you watch this, some of you are very much on the no masks, we don't need them, et cetera, et cetera. And I realize that some of you are like, hey, we need them. It's prudent. And I don't want to die of being stupid. I realize that there's a whole gamut within the spectrum of where you guys are thinking and what you're understanding. And I want to honor you and I want to shepherd and love you as best I can. But I want to call the church to a mindset of unity and love that's really embodied by how we will humbly walk with one another. So for the next 2 weeks, the 4 o'clock service and the 5:30 service will be offered at the church. The 4 o'clock service will require masks. We're asking people to wear masks to that service at 4 o'clock both of these weeks. None of us are going to be the mask police. Yet, the government and medical officials, the CDC, have recommended masks. And so we are giving a place for those of you who want to have more of a safer, more cautious environment to come to the 4 o'clock service. Put on your mask when you get out of the car, come into the church. There will not be name tags this week. It'll be a touchless service. And so you come in, you find a seat. Every other row will be kind of roped off. And so there will be space within the room. But we're also offering patio seating outside the sanctuary doors. There's limited seating back there, but if you are really, really, really wanting to be cautious, we're not judging you. We're providing a safe place for you to be where you can worship with us, physically present there. And that is what we're calling patio seating. And so that will be at 4 o'clock. Wear your mask. Now, we're in the summertime and we're in a building that doesn't have air conditioning. And so if you come to the 4 o'clock service and you get inside and you sit down and we get into the service, even though the windows are open and the doors are open and ventilation is flowing and you're like, it's really hot, we want you to know that no one's going to judge you if you're like, I have to take off this mask or I'm going to pass out. That's okay. If you're sitting outside on the patio, you probably won't feel the same way. You will have much more of a breeze. Just embrace grace, embrace mercy with one another and freedom as we come together for worship. But if you come to the 4 o'clock service, there's going to be a general expectation that you're going to wear a mask unless you're under 3 years old or if you have a sensory or medical condition. Now, the 5:30 service, we are not going to require a mask. There will be optional. Now, when you get out of your car for the 5:30 service, it is prudent. It's recommended by officials around us, medical officials, that you wear a mask to your seat, that you don't have extended conversation with people without a mask. That's a recommendation, but we're not going to police it. And so just come and then find wherever you're going to sit, take off your mask. There's going to be some of you who aren't going to wear a mask for whatever reason. And I'm not going to judge you, and I'm asking the rest of the church not to judge you either. All of us need a posture of what Peter is calling us to in unity and love. And so that's the plan for the next 2 weeks. Below this video, there are details that are there. Parents, I want you to know that we're going to have activities for your kids. We're going to make the service shorter. It'll be 50 minutes. Within that 50-minute service, there will be a 15-minute sermon. We're delighted to have Caleb and Alex with us from Romania this week. And so they will share a video from Romania and we will highlight their presence briefly during the service. I understand that some of you parents are a little bit nervous about what's it like to bring kids to worship. I want you to, from me, just relax. It's okay. If kids make noise during the service, we will deal with it. It will be fine. And I just want you to know that we come together as a diverse family of people longing to carry out the mission that God has given us for his church. We want to honor Christ as a people. We want to worship Christ as a people. We want to carry on the mission of Christ as the people, and we need to do it as unified as possible. For most of the church history, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, there's been no such thing as children's ministry. It's great that we have it. We just simply can't offer it right now in our current conditions. But we will look forward to the day when we can. And so until then, we will have activities for you. You can bring activities from home for kids as well. I will make the sermon as short as possible during this time that we are regathering together as a church. And I just don't want people to feel like I can't bring my family or we can't worship together because we have kids. The reality is that we need to find ways for us to be humble one with another, to not judge one another, but be respectful of one another too. And so you're the parents. And so as you bring your kids, to worship, regardless if it's the 4 o'clock or the 5:30 service. We're excited that you're planning to come, and just I want to also say that as the service is beginning and as the service is over, parents, keep your kids close by you for their own protection and for the protection of others. And I would also say along those lines that after the service, I will intentionally invite those who want to go straight to their cars. They might have more precautions that they want to exercise with not having elongated conversations with people. That's totally fine. So when we conclude the final prayer, I will invite first those who want to have some extra precautions to go to their cars to leave first. That's totally fine. And then we will go from there. The church will be sanitized before, between, and after the services during this time. If you're able to come and help with that, or stay a little bit after and help with that, please reply to this email. That would be great. It's a very short commitment if we have a couple of people who are willing to help make that happen. Other details will be posted along the way, but I want to leave us with a quote from Ravi Zacharias about love. He says, "Love is hard work." This is what the church is called to. We're called to be a people of love. Love is hard work. It is the hardest work I know of, work from which you are never entitled to take a vacation. So we're called to love, and I'm asking you as the pastor and as your friend, I'm asking you to exercise patience, humility, grace, mercy, all of those great virtues of the faith as we come back together in this very unusual time that we've been living in. And let's exercise the freedom that we have to worship the Lord. Again, if you're not ready, don't feel any guilt, don't feel any pressure. Come back when you are ready. We expect the services to be smaller in attendance. We expect that there will be a lot of distance between those that come to worship, and that's fine. We're in the summer months, and so as we worship together, we want the main thing to be the main thing, and this is our opportunity to honor the Lord and prioritize the fame of Christ, making him known, reminding each other of the gospel, and proclaiming that to the people around us. Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.